Want to bring in former Republican presidential candidate, Fox News contributor Herman Cain right now with us. Herman, good to see you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Yes.
So, do you believe the president's message of unity during this foreign trip has been effective? What's your reaction to the president's trip?
His message of unity internationally has been very effective. His message of unity back home, because of the destroy Trump media, it has not been effective because a lot of people haven't heard it. And that's ironic. Newt Gingrich made a very compelling observation the other day in an interview. He said, it's ironic that at home the liberal media shows so much disrespect for this president, but internationally they are showing a huge amount of respect, which is helping to drive that unity. And I think he nailed it when he made that observation.
Yeah, it's a great observation.
It is.
I mean, the fact that he's getting such respect. He got
Yes.
such respect in Saudi Arabia,
Yes.
in Israel. And the media here gives him no respect
None.
whatsoever.
Right.
Meanwhile, the police in the UK have said that they have made 3 more arrests in connection to the stadium bombing in the United Kingdom this morning. Britain is raising the terrorist level to the highest level in a decade. That is the critical level. The suicide bomber has been identified as 22-year-old Salman Abedi. Authorities say that Abedi had probably been to Syria and that he had proven ties to the Islamic State. President Trump responded to the attack yesterday while he was in Bethlehem. Listen to this. I want to get your reaction.
Yes.
So many young, beautiful, innocent people living and enjoying their lives murdered by evil losers in life. I won't call them monsters because they would like that term. They would think that's a great name. I will call them from now on losers.
It's such an incredible story, Herman.
It is. They are losers for 2 reasons. One, because they take advantage of innocent civilians in order to try to intimidate and to incite fear. That's part of their strategy and tactics. But here's the second reason they are losers. Benjamin Netanyahu, I heard give a speech many years ago. He said the reason that that element of Islam is so angry and so violent is because their culture has lost to our culture. And their only retort is to try and destroy us. We have the biggest economy in the world. We have the most powerful military in the world. We have more freedoms in the world. We have a true democracy. Yes, it may hit some bumps and it may hit some potholes, but that's what they have lost. Theirs didn't work, so their objective is to wipe us out. That's why they are losers.
But what do we do, Herman? This guy was on a watch list.
Yes.
He just got back from Libya. If you're on a watch list and you're going back and forth to Libya, doesn't that raise some red flags?
Yes.
And Dagan made the point earlier, when are we going to start getting tougher?
We're going to start getting tougher when in the United States, we are already getting tougher because President Trump has said, we have your back. Allow the authorities to do their jobs without fear of being intimidated or being harassed or being fired because you did your job.
Right.
In Europe, they are much further behind the United States in encouraging the authorities to do their jobs. That's when we are going to be able to do the type of things that should have been done over there.
Yeah.
I'm glad that this president has told all of the authorities and even the intelligence resources, some of whom are not in his court, we got your back. That has not been a message that the European leaders have told their authorities.
But it has resonated with leaders across the world. That's absolutely true.
Exactly.
You make such a good point. Let me bring you back to the issues at home, because the administration is working toward tax reform.
Yes.
Bloomberg is reporting that Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin said during a private meeting with members of the House Freedom Caucus that the president is inclined to oppose the border adjustment tax. This is not new information. This is exactly what we expected, that there would be no border adjustment tax in this tax package. But what are your thoughts on the domestic agenda? You know, this Russia investigation is taking all the oxygen out of the room, but he did release his budget yesterday.
Yes.
They are moving forward on tax reform. Your thoughts?
My thoughts are the Democrats can change the narrative, but they can't change the facts. And a lot of people are waking up to that. Now, relative to the budget, the blueprint is spot on. It is spot on. And what the president showed is his ability to negotiate. The memos, the Republicans in the House and the Senate said a border adjustment tax is a non-starter,
right,
even though he had initially said we need one. So what he has done is showed that he was willing to negotiate. Hopefully, knowing Donald Trump, President Trump, he got something in return. Now, the blueprint is just that, a blueprint, and people need to be reminded of that. Now the House has to build the structure.
Yeah.
Then the structure goes to the Senate. Now, we know that the structure isn't going to be exactly what's in the blueprint, but as long as it hits most of the president's priorities, it's got a chance to survive in the Senate, and let's hope that the Senate doesn't screw it up too bad before it goes back to the president's desk.
Yeah.
So people need to keep in mind, it's the blueprint that lays the foundation for the structures that will be built in the House and the Senate.
Well, you make a good point, because also the president starts on 15% corporate tax rate.
Yes.
I don't think anybody believes that the corporate tax rate is going to be 15%. But he starts at this level because he knows that the House is all the way up to 28%
Yes.
or 25%. So,
Exactly. It's the art of the deal. Yeah. And he is showing flexibility, which I think shows that he understands what he has to work with, since you've got to work with the legislative process.
But the left is painting this budget as cuts to,
yes,
you know, programs for the poor, like food stamps.
Yes.
They're cutting growth of the spending, not actual cutting.
That's the big lie, and let me explain why. In Washington speak, a cut is don't allow it to grow faster than you increased it last year. That's why they're calling it a cut. All they're saying is we're at this level. They're not cutting the existing spending for food stamps and Medicaid or anything like that. They're simply saying we're not going to build in X increase in these programs because we want to put people back to work so they won't need food stamps. So that is the language of the left. They call it a cut. They call it devastating. That's just the big lie that they tell in order to try to demagogue this approach.
Thank you very much for that. That was great analysis. Herman Cain, good to see you.
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you so much. Herman Cain there.